But I don't know if we're dead in the water yet. We'll see. A few years ago, I built this, and you guys were pretty big fans of it. But since then, I've gotten much better as a builder, and I gotta say, she's seen some better days. So we're gonna fix it. But instead of fixing it and then never telling you guys about it, I'm gonna build my absolute dream workbench. And don't worry, we're not getting rid of this one. We're gonna just keep it back here where we have this, and actually, we're gonna give this sucker away. I've had this for years and it's phenomenal. And stick around till later in the video and I'll tell you how you can win it. For this new workbench, we have a bigger shop and I'm gigantic, so we're going balls to the wall huge with this sucker. We're gonna build an 8-foot workbench by 30 inches. Now we're gonna have 24 inches of work surface, which is what we have now, and I'm gonna use a little bit of a different mentality on this bench. You see, the world is changing and technology is improving a lot of our lives, so why hasn't it improved the workbench yet? And so that's where my new ideas are gonna come in. Okay, so you can see the workbench here. This is looking pretty awesome. And first thing you're gonna notice is that I have this kind of apron on the front with this drop down here. We're gonna be putting my logo right here because I use this bench so much and we're a studio that it'll look awesome. And I've also never seen it done like that before. So why the hell not? We're gonna backlight that with LEDs that'll run under the table and mount down there. Now for another feature to kind of give it something I like is I love a through dovetail. So we're gonna do double through dovetails on all 4 sides and we'll do a walnut piece on the front and back for sandwich. The end caps here will be tenoned on. And then we have a tool tray here that's about 6 inches deep. I also left the tool tray front thick because I'm gonna do power carving on this because it's kind of my style. It's something I think will be a lot of fun. I look really cool and unique and nobody else has done anything like that. To go with it, I'm also gonna carve the chop. I have a kind of a general idea. I want to kind of keep it organic. I'm not quite sure what these are going to look like yet when they're carved. That's more or less the gist of it. I've been working on breaking down the materials first and foremost to get them into more manageable pieces for milling. I always suggest this. It makes it so much easier, especially with a heavy, dense wood like hard maple. It's going to be your standard procedure of joiner, planer, table saw, getting everything kind of milled up and ready for gluing. I'm gonna glue this thing up in parts. We're gonna start with the top. I'm gonna get all of the top glued up as best I can, oversized, except for the end caps on both the long and the short sides. Those will come after because I'm gonna have to cut some joinery. I'm blessed to have a 25-inch wide planer, so I can do this in one shot, but if you're gonna build something like this on your own, you should probably do it in smaller glue-ups to fit your planer. Make sure you're being cognizant of that. Also, if you do want to build this on your own, we do have a detailed plan available for you to build this thing bare bones without the tech. I've also made sure that the plan was spec'd to be able to use construction grade lumber because I do realize that in today's market, hardwoods are absurdly expensive. Everything in the plan can be built from construction grade pre-dimensioned lumber. All right. So we're dry. I had to bring in the muscles to help me get these things out of the clamps. She's thick. She's thick. Ooh, that sounded solid. Everyone come over here. Give it a whack. Chris and I are gonna throw this on the CNC. Just give it a skim pass. I could do it by hand. I'm not a real woodworker, and it only needs a little bit. It needs like an 1/18 to make it perfectly parallel. Then we'll cut it down to size. If you wanna build big boy stuff, you gotta have big boy tools. At least that's what I read in a magazine before I spent a bunch of money on tools. All right, let's go. Well, the deflection wasn't terrible, but the tear out is not what I was looking for. That could have been way worse. Let's see how square we stayed. We're out a little bit down here. Unsquared my square. We're out about a That's what I hate about that saw. The good news is we're gonna be cutting a 1-inch tenon here, and so all of this will be coming out. The legs are out of clamps as well, and you can see they're still pretty rough. I'm gonna join them and plane them down to size. In the plan, I have them at a 3-inch width, but I got so much more yield out of my materials, I might beef them up to a 4 or close to as 4 as I can get, but I've got to clean them up first to see what my yield's gonna be. All right, so for the 4th leg, we need to make that sucker hollow so we can run some power through it. The best idea I have is a locking miter, and this thing kicked mine and Sam's ass for hours, but we finally got it dialed in. Look at this bit.
Just look at it.
This thing is insane. And I know you're all staring at my router table right now, and yes, we do have a plan available. We have lots of plans available. There'll be a plan for this workbench available. Hold your horses. We're gonna run this through here, get that glued up, and then we're gonna start working on the top. Send it! I wanted to cut that out. That looks like a box, huh? Room for all your electronic gizmos and doodads.
Nice hidey hole.
Nobody will ever know that it's not completely solid like this, except for the 1 million people who are gonna watch this video. Cute, that's all you need. Just need a massive workbench the size of Bigfoot's. Let's glue her up. I like to leave those little hairs in there as a reminder that I'm a cheap ass who buys like the cheapest acid brushes. So for this workbench, I went with the Benchcrafted hardware. It's pretty badass. I've always been a fan of it. I've already got Andy Klein's twin turbo hardware, so I pretty much was like, I gotta get the next awesome hardware that's out there on the market. So it came with this like awesome tube rolled Roubo plan. I've never thought about it, but like it'd probably be pretty cool if my plans came like this. Hurry the hell up. I got awesome shit I wanna show you. I think he lied to us, Joe. I don't think he can hear. He never wears ear protection. I wanted you to have the honor of opening this.
All right.
I know he's a man who appreciates a nice machined shaft.
Look at that.
Probably the most gorgeous shaft I've ever touched. Wow. These are the end caps. They are dry. So now I need to mill them to final size. They'll go on this. We'll have our tool tray here. And this thing is gonna be big. I mean, real big. So my first big boo-boo of this build is this. I forgot to look at the instructions for using this wagon vise, this tail vise from Benchcraft. So I have to actually have a gap on the edge of my bench. I'm not gonna get into the details on building this and putting this together. These plans are absolutely phenomenal, but I forgot it, so I gotta cut a chunk off of my table. My material is 2 inches thick anyway, and I believe that they have the dog hole strip on here is 1 3/8, so 1 3/4 total thickness. So should be able to easily just cut this off here and we'll be good. How many times do you think I'm gonna have to flip this thing? 200, 300?
I'd say 17 more times.
Do I have 12 other saws that could finish the cut? Probably. Am I too lazy to grab them? Absolutely. Hey, there we go. Tenon is next. I'm gonna cut the tenon hole and then we'll size it down to fit the caps. We'll do this mostly with the track saw. It'll be the easiest way. It's pretty much what I've noticed, like everyone who has a track saw and builds a table with a tenon on the end does. And it seems like the easiest and most efficient way. Now for the fun part. He's Sam Pula, but he need help. He's Sam Pula. You know who that is? So I'm following along with the recommendations for the hardware.
That's a first.
So I got to route a pocket. And so I just clamped my straight edge. I'm gonna come, set all my depths and stuff. Everyone else gets all fancy with this, but I think I can get it done being a little bit more of a rudimentary redneck idiot woodworker. Get a little bit of tear out. This has a bearing on it, so once I get down to the last pass, I'll be able to come make a nice flush cut and we'll have a stop. I've got to get this tenon to fit inside this end cap, and I got to do it with the outside piece here, as well as leaving the space for the tool trough over here. So I think I'm going to cut the tenon down slightly, leave a little bit of relief in it. We want all of the movement to go towards our tool tray, which is important here. A little bit of thinking, a lot of bit of chopping. Don't know what else to kind of do, so I'm just gonna kind of do it and hope it works.
You can do it!
Fucking call it on the router slipped while I was just cleaning up this face and burned it in there. Like, fortunately I got enough meat. I'm gonna be able to just level it out, but like, yeah, look at that. Piece of shit. In the words of my great grandpappy, Mother Jones.
How's that?
Motherfucker John.
Now it'll be perfect. The whole point is to get this line tight, and I learned on the last one that if I could get that first bit to be good, then be good, period.
The wrong side.
I was looking at this and I was like, the tenon ain't centered at all. This is supposed to be like this. So that mark's actually supposed to be right here. So the easiest way is gonna be square it up, hog it out, put another piece in, and then recut that mortise over here. So that's what we're gonna have to do. Make it more work. That'll be faster, I think, than re-gluing a brand new block. I think it's seated.
I'm Ron Burgundy.
That'll do. So to mitigate my screw up, I'm just gonna flip it. I was gonna have this part facing down because I liked the grain better on this side. It's either that or I'll see this in the tool trough. So I think we'll just go with the clean part and I'll mark it accordingly. And then this time, I know that it's appropriately centered because this is the bottom. Tenon has a better fit already. So this whole time I've been struggling to get this to line up. stay flush. That gap right there, because it's flush on this side, top to bottom. The problem, it's at a square on that side. This side too a little bit. This sucks. All right, we gotta do the bolt hole here.
What did he say?
Which if I land in the center, I kind of marked it out in here, it's gonna come out inside the tenon, which is what we want. I'm gonna drill the pilot hole in the end cap first and then drill in. I don't really know what I'm doing, but I kind of know what I'm doing, but I don't know what I'm doing. Go me. I'm just trying to make a good square line. Well, it's going in, I just gotta go a little deeper. There we go, that makes me happy. Okay, it's tightening. Yeah, apart! Woo! Okay, friends, meet the new employee in the shop. This is a 1950s or 60s Delta 14-inch radial arm saw. I'm pumped because I literally bought it so we could do this. Check this out. I essentially wanted to get this tool just to cut stuff like this. What I'm gonna be able to do is cut this dovetail top here, and then I made this cool little jig that will allow me to, once we're done with those, I can come in, pop this up, it'll perfectly cut the center, and then I can flip it, cut this center too, and I don't have to adjust the height of the saw. Our boy, Mr. Dusty Lumber Co., makes it all look so easy. Up next, I gotta clean these up. To basically just finish these cuts by hand, I gotta remove this, and then this side, and then chop that out. Beautiful. The whole point of this is that the blue will be where I don't touch with my tools. That's the part we keep. I'm going unconventional to cut these. I'm gonna use a track saw.
What?
And what that'll allow me to do is essentially just get a nice straight edge on that shoulder, because I'm really bad at cutting shoulders and I know my weaknesses. If I do it like this, I can cut that shoulder with a clean pass and it'll be perfect right off the saw, I think. This is only doable because it's a full through tenon, by the way. I'm gonna come in with the band saw to make some relief cuts to hog out this waist here. Start breaking. We'll just go with the good old fashioned coping saw, the way you'd remove it if you weren't a clown like myself. Let's test this. Okay, I gotta say, I've never made a joint this big before.
This is immaculate, man.
It's awesome! Is it perfect? Absolutely not, but a little TLC. Oh man, that's gonna be great. The other three definitely got room for improvement there. So I could put the vise in, but I'm getting a little antsy. I think I wanna cut the other dovetail on the chop on the other side. Next, we are looking at the other side of the workbench. And for this, I want my logo to be displayed in the center of the table. How can I make this look pretty cool still and do something a little different, function the way I want it to, and be like a showpiece for the shop? So I'm gonna lay out like where I think the logo will be. I'm gonna power carve everything on the front and on the chop, leaving where the logo sits by itself. No, I like that, I think that's what I want. All right, forgive me, I'm in here working by myself. I forgot to turn the camera on, but to get these perfectly cut to where I wanted them, I just used the table saw and I ran what's called a stop cut. See a little board there? Stopped once I touched it, turned the saw off, and repeated that on both sides. Now we're gonna cut the center part out rough on the bandsaw. We're ready to cut the pocket here for my logo. So here's the vision for it. We've got the John the Builder logo. Boom. Boom, bitch! But to make it even more awesome, I want to carve this front. It'd be cool if it looked like a drop of water and it kind of like bubbled out from the edge. I feel kind of crazy right now. What the hell is John doing? So it would more or less, it'll just be like a wave coming back in out of the center. So in between all these would be low spots. And it'll just be like wavy. Before we do anything though, we need to cut that pocket and then we gotta cut the recess for it's gonna be our tool tray underneath and install our vise. Chris is gonna run the CNC to cut that pocket, and while he does that, let's put the vise in. Oh, you
I'm sorry.
I cracked it 2 days ago.
Oh, thank God.
No one can handle the nerves. Pula cannot handle those nerves. It's okay, it cracked with the grain. I totally planned on fixing that. As the table sits, whoop, this is where the hardware will live, and it's sliding. The next thing that needs to happen is I gotta drill the hole for the rod. This comes with on the template. What I should do is take this off and go over to the drill press, but we're not gonna do that because I like to live life on the edge. So we're just gonna send it. Yeah, it looks about 3/16. Time to do some sketchy shit. You're wondering why it's burning? Because that's at an insane angle. Looks hideous on the inside. Doesn't matter. That should hold itself now. Dude, I might die from maple inhalation on this project. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's what it's supposed to do. All right, so Chris just burned this. It'll look so much better with finish. I forget how like busy my logo is, but this is a cottonwood burl. We might even backlight it. But before we do any of that, we gotta cut our slot for our shelf inside of our trough here. We've got the tool tray. The piece for the insert is installed. I'm gonna line this, I think, with a special wood, make it pop a little bit more. I need to carve this part still, and then we'll get everything kind of flushed up here. More or less, the top is like 90% complete. So we need to get started working on the base so I have something to put this sucker on. We're gonna start out, I'm gonna cut all these leg parts down to size, and then from there, we'll do some joinery and get it put together. I'm so stupid. I modeled this off of like a normal person's bench, and I'm 6'3", forgot to make it taller. That one's like 40 inches tall. This one's gonna be probably like 36, 37. I was designing it to make sure the plan worked for like pretty much anyone, and that backfired. So for the joinery method on the table base, we're gonna do a classic mortise and tenon with a draw bore pin. So this is our tenon here. I'm gonna cut these on the table saw. It's too bad that I don't have a big dado stack yet for the radial, because that would have been a lot of fun to do. These parts are small enough and they're nice and easy. I'll cut the shoulder first and then flip it, cut it, flip this up, relieve it, and all four tenons cut, and then we'll go ahead and start working on the mortises. This will pretty much be the same thing for all the mortise and tenons that we're gonna do here. We're gonna rough cut with this wood owl bit. This thing's sick. It gets enough throw. We need to go 2 inches deep, and you'll see how fast this will make this work. And then I'll clean them all up with chisel and router. Gotta trim it up more. Pretty strong joint. Come on. I'm glad for its last hurrah, this workbench is getting some good work. 8 more to do.
That is tight.
Kid dreams his whole life of being a woodworker professionally, and then a nice tight mortise and tenon doesn't get him fired up. I don't know if he was built for this world, because it gets way fired up.
This is my max level of enthusiasm,
Well, you should fix it. Sturdy. Nobody knows what he's doing. I'm just waiting for you to go, I don't know what I'm doing. Can I have some help? I know exactly what it is. You put the blades on backwards.
Oh.
Teaching moment. My favorite.
You ready for my excuse, Joe? Never used a dado stack this nice before. My Harbor Freight ones.
Wow.
You can switch your outside blades.
I'm the idiot who hired him though, so who's getting it here? Looking good. All right, this thing is coming along and it is looking amazing. Last few things to do. We've got to get this chop done. And then I can finally get to the stuff that I've been really looking forward to, which is gonna be adding some little touches that are 100% John Malecki. So I'm stoked for that. Let's get to it. Gotta give this a minute to dry. And before we go any further, I'm gonna tell you about this week's sponsor, Factor. Owning a business, being a dad, being a YouTuber, trying to enjoy my life and everything else going on has me crazy busy. Because of that, I've been actually eating Factors for months. This is one of my favorite and routine hacks that I absolutely love and tell everyone about. Factor is a service that ships fresh meals directly to your door. They've never been frozen and they're absolutely delicious. It's so easy to forget your lunch and then run out and grab something, spend like 20 bucks on it and eat 1,000 calories and think nothing about it. You literally go on the website, you pick the type of meal that you want, you input it to be delivered to your house or your workshop or wherever you're at. It shows up in a refrigerated box at the peak of freshness, and all you got to do is poke a couple holes in it. You can throw it in the microwave and it's ready in 2 to 3 minutes. So I get variety, and I kid you not, I am not lying at all when I say this. They're delicious. So if you're looking to save some time and get some unbelievably good, delicious meals, so tender you cut it with a fork, you've got to check out Factor. Head to factor75.com or click the link below and use code JohnMalecki50 to get 50% off your first Factor box. And worth every single penny, I promise you. Thank you so much for sponsoring this build. Now, let's get back to this thing because it's kicking my butt. The maple's cut, the walnut's done. We do want to make the veneer for the inside. So we've got these 2 chunks. We'll put that in between. And then when we back bevel it, and I'm actually going to carve. So if I can carve carve like into the red and show the red, that'll look really rad in between like that and the maple. Give me a lot of depth to play with then, because we'll be like 3.25 inches deep. If you're not subscribed, we're not going to be able to show you what's going on right here, but it is ridiculous and potentially 16 feet long. So hit that subscribe button. We're almost to 1 million. Why wouldn't you? We're gonna cut it to size. I'm gonna put it down with contact cement so we don't have to wait in the veneer bag for 2 days, and that should be fine. It's time to potentially ruin the entire, however many weeks I've been doing this project by carving it. I figure why not? All of us here in this factory of morons believe this is a good idea. What could go wrong, right? It's just the feature part of the entire build. So ain't nothing to it but do it. Let's go, people. I don't hate it. I don't know. Right now, I really don't like it.
The vision is there.
Yeah, I think I need to go deeper in here. Oh, I don't know, guys. I don't know. I like it, I think. It needs a lot of softening, I think, for this concept to look the way we're envisioning it. Do a little more with the die grinder, and then I think I'm just gonna have to like bring it home with the sander. It's out. Right now, I'm feeling really anxious about it just not looking good. I don't know. Maybe it'll look better once it's on the bench. There's nothing quite like getting super far into a build and effing it up with some stupid idea at the end. But I don't know if we're dead in the water yet. We'll see. Rotex 90, baby, let's go. Save my ass. I think it worked. Go team! Woo! It looks wicked on camera. It's gonna look so good.
You gotta get deep in the crevices of the walnut to truly appreciate the.
Can you please? Gosh.
First it was the
Just ruined a wholesome moment.
All right. While John's sanding that, we have some of our bench dogs over here. I have milled these out of some maple. It's a 3/8 inch roundover bit on the corners. Joe and I just got done marking center, and now we're gonna take them in the drill press and drill out for our pop-up hardware. This little pop-up button. What?
One of the pop-ups made out of walnut.
Oh no. Well, I mean, we're set up to do it. I know what to mill it to. You want me to?
Looks like you're fired. We are trying to lock the tenon in on the side that has the vise, so we don't get any expansion that makes the vise not really want to work right.
happy birthday, Chris.
That doesn't look like shit. Go us!
It looks awesome.
The Duke actually is fucking gnarly.
All right, everyone, good morning. Got this sucker out of clamps, looking fantastic. I cut some of the strips that we're gonna be using for the rest of the lining of this. I wanna get this in so it can dry while I work on the chop. They're just a little bit big, and so to get a kind of a perfect fit, I'm gonna shoot them into place with my shooting board, which is over here. That'll give me an opportunity to get a nice, perfect mitered edge on this side. 45 degrees here. This thing's rad. I built this years and years ago. It's been so long, I'm like, forgot how to use this. Which now that I recall, it's this way. So you pull it into the fence. So now it's time for the chop and the leg. This is gonna be the last like major assembly component. Everything else will be small detail sanding, that kind of fun stuff.
How important is this?
No, this is it. Like, this is the moment of truth for the whole frickin', everything could be misaligned. I could be losing hours. So we will see. Gosh, this is annoying. It's funny though, who used this last before me?
It's an interesting way of phrasing it.
See that guilty conscience? I was the last one to use it before me. You could hear the sigh. I guess we could go use the metal one. These drill presses are killing me. All right, we got the job done. Was it pretty? No. Is it done? Yes. Assembly time, or at least testing. All right, so the unfortunate thing about this is I have to put it together and then take it apart before I can shape the chop. Just gotta make sure all the action works and everything, which more or less terrifies me. So, lazy pre-drill. I believe this goes here. This has to go like this. So we'll get this started. That one went perfect. This one's kicking my ass.
Many unbearable hours later.
I don't have it like absolutely locked in, but this is what we're supposed to be getting here. So it's, hell yeah, that's so satisfying. The toe down here, we're actually supposed to have a gap, I believe. Based on the drawing, it says correct amount of toe. We're ready to shape this sucker. I don't really have a plan, so we're going to more or less just start shaping it away. I want to expose this edge first here. Gave myself a couple reference lines on the top. There's a pocket inside that I can't cut into that scares the living shit out of me. So we're gonna see.
Yeah, sender sometimes.
I will not disagree with that. Let's give it hell. I just put on the Lord of the Rings theme music on my headset. Let's get hobbity. Not looking good, people. I don't like it at all. I think I ruined it, or like the home stretch, and I go ahead and fuck it up. I need like a bin or something to throw all this shit in. All right, so we can finally start putting stuff together. Everything is working good enough that I don't think we have any more parts that need integrated, except this hollow leg. We gotta run some power. So we're gonna cut a mortise and I'm gonna drop a power outlet into it. Would you look at that? Well, these are tapered, so I always run into that issue where I fucking make it just like slightly too small and it fucks me in the places I don't like it. Oh yeah, oh yeah, that's my girl. All right, we're in the home stretch on this thing, and one of the last things we need to do is cut our bench dog. We're actually taking inspiration from Padula Studios. If you haven't seen his workbench, bar none, the greatest workbench to ever exist. Thing's brilliant. And one of the brilliant things he had that I thought was really cool was pop-up bench dogs. We're gonna cut a hole to hog out most of the material here with the wood owl bit. These things have been superstars on this project, and then I'll come back with a router in this template here to do the rest. Hopefully I don't screw anything up because we are so close to being done, I can't afford to mess up here. Because I still want to be able to use the normal bench dogs and these hold downs, I'm gonna actually put some 3/4 inch holes into the tabletop as well. Okay kids, so we finally got the pop-up dogs in. Sam's working on a little bit of touch-up on that end of the bench. So we're gonna use this all-natural wood finish from Bumbleshoots. It's a new product for them. It's the only thing I have enough of to do the table in. But we've used a little bit of it on other stuff and I like it a lot. We want to go with a hand-applied finish here, mostly because we can touch it up later on. The best part about a hand-applied oil finish though, they look so good on walnut. So feast your eyes. Ooh, yes. Chris is just waiting on that Paduke to pop. Look at that Paduke.
Oh, God. Don't. I'm going to do things that can't be on camera.
That kid loves Paduke. Oh yeah, it smells so good. They use a lot of orange peel in their stuff. I prefer their cutting board finish too. Bumbleshoots guys. They're pretty good to us. I know you want to touch the Duke. Touch that Paduke. Touch it.
Get your going, Joe.
So every year on Black Friday, we go live for a couple hours and we have an absolute blast. We get to hang out, we're answering questions. This year, I've got some friends that are gonna jump on the live stream, other creators from around the internet. I'll pop some of their faces up here. You probably recognize a few of them. We're gonna be hanging out and talking shop. I've also got a few guys from the past that have been on live streams that if you're a longtime fan, you're gonna wanna be around to see. We're gonna be giving away this workbench live on air as well. You will be able to win this by going on our website, hit the link down below, and anything that you purchase, we'll give you an entry per dollar to the giveaway. We're gonna draw it live on Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern. You also, there's ways to win without buying anything. Check out that link. It gives you all the information that you need. That being said, we also have an exclusive product that I've been working on for years, and if you've paid attention, you may even know what it is. You've seen it, you love it, you've asked about it, and it is coming on Black Friday. So you're not gonna wanna miss out. It's gonna be your first chance to get the version 1 exclusive opportunity to own something that you've been asking for years. So Black Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern. Check it out. Now, let's get this bench together and get the electronic parts in it. My table up and he's excellent. Doesn't give a shit.
Up at? I wonder where it could be.
Holy shit.
Okay, so to mount the logo on the front, Chris went ahead and made this, which is a ring with LEDs on it that we're gonna run the power through here. So we gotta drill a pilot hole and then find a way to make that mount without effing up. So excited I had to sneeze. Okay.
Little CA weld to hold it.
How upset are all of you that there's a tool tray and LEDs? Because I know the traditional woodworking community loves both of those. This color combo is so f***ing good. We actually went ahead and added some speakers underneath the bench that will sync with the LEDs, which is pretty cool. We just have a little 3D printed mount that goes in with these, which is really cool. Something that I'm fired up about is that I can now pretty much ask Alexa math equations on the go. So if I want like fractions divided or converted or millimeters or set timers, it'll be really useful. The last piece of useful utility I want to add is this bar to kind of hold my iPad while I'm working. If I'm using a PDF or if we're doing an ad read or whatever, I think it's really nice to have this here. So we're gonna have to hack this thing apart, add some modifications to make it work. So let's get to that. Well, we got a whole party going on down here. And you didn't make this clean and nice at all. So the entire intention of this is because we are constantly using the iPad for like talking points and stuff. If I'm working over here and I'm like, oh, I need to see those measurements, or if I want to have a disco, as Pula would say. I think that's pretty cool. Chris likes it, and he doesn't like a lot of stuff. He only loves stuff. I hate or love, there's no like.
Look at that, we're in.
I'm incapable of using an iPad. I just drove my router into your tabletop.
You gotta find joy in life.
Oh shit, I think it's done. Alexa, turn on the workbench.
Okay.
Alexa, change the workbench to blue. And that's gonna be a wrap on this build. This thing took me like 120 hours of just me without any help from the guys. Absolute monster of a project. I'm super pumped because it turned out sick and I can't wait for it to be the focal point of all of our videos moving forward. And I have to ask you to be sure to subscribe so you can see those videos. We just crossed 900,000 subscribers and I love each and every one of you. And when we hit 1 million, I'm gonna do something ridiculous. Lastly, don't forget, I'm giving away this bench on Black Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern. Join all of us for a ton of fun. We're also going to be, we're also going to be debuting something brand new for you guys. You can only get it on the live stream. I'm super excited. And then let me know what we're gonna, hold on actually, we're building the fish table next. See you guys on that one.